Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Denver, Colorado. And today I have product and card project for you, but I want to feature a product in the catalog that I think is kind of fun and has lots of opportunity for doing some fun cards. So let's just get started. Okay, so this is the Bird Ballad laser cut card and tin, and this set comes with this pretty little tin and 12 cards, and these cards have this pretty lacy laser cut piece. I'm just going to put a piece of paper behind it so you can see it here. And it's just gorgeous. Even that by itself is awful pretty. The envelopes come with this pretty scallop on the back of the envelopes. And so I have a little project here today that we're going to make in a class that I have coming up, and I thought I would share it with you. This little tin with 12 cards would make just a lovely gift for somebody for the holidays or for a birthday or any kind of a special event, and I'm just going to set that aside for now. And what I have done is I have two cards here of the laser cuts, and what I've chosen is out of the pressed petals designer series paper. And one of the things it has in it in this pressed petals design is this floral pattern on one side and this pretty script piece on the other. And I thought it would be kind of fun to turn this card this way and slide this paper underneath here so you could just barely see the script through the material here. Then I've chosen a piece of paper from Perennial Essence, and this one is fairly light but has lots of pretty colors in it. And so I thought I would make kind of a green and a pink version of this. Now, what I'm going to do is adhere these pieces to the inside of the card. Now, on this piece, when I do that, what'll be on the other side of the card is this beautiful floral piece here. And I think that's kind of a fun surprise to see on the inside, and lends itself also to the soft nature of this paper. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that one on the inside of this and do my additional decorating here on the front. Now on this piece, the flowers on the other side of this really, in my opinion, don't match. There's a little bit of the pink in there, but it's a pretty harsh distance from this. So I've taken a piece of Rococo Rose paper that I plan to put on the back of this one and do some decorating on this rather than have those harsh flowers show through. So that is my plan. These are very fast and easy cards. And what I have done is I have taken a stamp, and let's see if I've got it here. Yes, I did. From the Hugs from Shelley Paper Pumpkin Kit, there's this lovely little stamp that has a floral design on it. I'll bring that up. Maybe you can see that a little bit better. And it's 2 or 3 little flowers and some greenery. And I went ahead and colored in a couple of these, one with the Rococo Rose and one with the purple posy, because I thought the purple posy kind of went with this paper that was Perennial Essence. Now, right now I know you can't get the purple posy ink, and I happen to have ordered mine early enough that I did get mine, and there's nothing wrong with mine. But it did occur to me that one thing you can get right now are the markers, the 5 marker set for the new in colors, and in there is the marker for the purple posy. And I've heard nothing bad about that ink, and so you know you can use markers on your stamps to get the stamped image, and so you could do that and get this same thing accomplished. And any little floral design, any little flower will do. And I know you've got a little flower punch or a little flower stamp in your stash someplace, so these would work just beautifully. And then I took a stamp from the Bird Ballad Suite, Dear Friend, and I love the script on that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Tombow glue, and this is all in Very Vanilla, and I'm going to put some, well, let me glue these two pieces together first. So on these two, I cut the Rococo Rose just a 1/16 of an inch more than 4 by 5 1/4. So 4 1/16 by 5 1/4 plus 1/16, just so that, and you can see the rim on this is practically nothing. I just didn't want the other paper to show through on that side. So the very first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to use Snail for the first part of this, and I'm just going to adhere these two pieces of paper together. So on this one, I'm putting a backing on it. On the other one, I chose not to, because I think the soft flowers on the other side of that will work. So I'm just going to get my 1/32 of an inch, half of that 1/16, set on my piece of paper here, and get that put into place. And then the writing on this going across this way felt like this card needed to go together this way. So now I'm going to add a little bit of Tombow just right around the rim, right on the edge. Oops, got a little bit more than I planned on there. So what I'm going to do is put a very small bead of Tombow just right along the edge towards the bottom of that. In fact, I've got a little more glue on there than I wanted, so I'm going to wipe a little bit of that off. And so I'm going to go all the way around the face of my card, close to the laser cut pieces here. And this is a very fast set of cards. If you wanted to do, you could pick different DSP that you have in scraps and make this up in all different kinds of colors and patterns, and I think it would make a lovely gift for someone, or just a series of note cards to have in your stash. Okay, so that's all got glue on it now, and I'm going to put this down. Now I want to make sure I'm doing that right side up. Okay, so the writing is set right, and I'm just going to set this piece of paper on the inside of my card here. And I want to do it so that there is a similar border all the way around. And the Tombow is going to allow me to wiggle that in place. And it looks like I've got lots of extra glue on this, so I'm just going to clean up with my baby wipe here around the edges. And then once that dries, I can take my glue eraser along the edges here and make sure that I get all of the pieces of glue picked up on that so that it's not sticky or unsightly. So there we go, and now I've got my pretty pattern here on the outside, and again more glue. So this doesn't take very much glue to get this down. It might take a little bit of practice to get that just exactly right. Okay, so there we go, and I see that one little piece didn't punch out of that laser piece there. I'm going to remove that. All right, so the next thing I did was I took my Rococo Rose here, and let me open that, and I have a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock here, and I used my, let me see if I can find it here. I may have set that down someplace else, but what I used was my layering stitched rectangle dies, and I used the long skinny one here, to do this. And what I did was I took my Rococo Rose here, knowing full well that this die cuts things, you know, a little bit longer. So what I did was I went into my Rococo Rose and I put my dear friend sort of with enough opportunity here, as straight as I could here. Then I used my die to go over the top of that, and there it is. There's my die to go over the top of that, and I put the dear friend to the right side so that I could, when I ran this through my die cutting machine, then I would get this look. Isn't that pretty? And it's just such a soft, pretty color. So I did that in that color, and I did it in the purple posy. And like I said, if you had the markers, you could ink up this little stamp with the purple posy and be able to stamp this down if that's the color. But there's all kinds of different DSPs you could put behind this, and this would be an opportunity to use some of the pieces in your stash to get, all you really need is a piece here that's 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so what I'm going to do on this is I have my little flower that I colored, and I thought I would just tuck this right here along this edge, and I'm going to put it up on dimensionals just to give it a little bit of lift here. And I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals across here. I think 3 to support. That's kind of a long piece here. And put that into place on my card. Well, before I do that, I had an idea that we have some of this. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it's this rose thread, and I thought that might be kind of a fun thing to put on this. So I'm going to just grab one end of the rose thread here and wind this around my hands here a bunch of times. I'm talking maybe 8 times because it's such thin stuff you might not see it otherwise. And nip that off. Do my twist this around this way, capturing one of these, pull some ends out so it's not quite so orderly, and put it across one of the dimensionals here to kind of hold that in place. And I'm picking the side that doesn't have the sentiment on it. Now I've got little pieces of rose thread here all over the place, so I'm probably going to have to corral a couple of them and maybe nip one off. And then this could be put, now it looks like I'm going to have to maybe capture some of that to come up on the other side, but to put this across the bottom of the card, not right at the end, but a little bit over, so that I also have an opportunity to put my flower in place here. And what I'm going to do is add a dimensional on this side of my flower, and then put a tiny bit of snail on this other end of the flower, and put that in place here on this with my little rose thread coming out and behind from all of that. And I'm just going to nip off the ends here for anything that goes below, But there you go. Isn't that pretty? It's just as simple as it can be. And I'm going to take that Rococo Rose again here, and my stamp, my little flower stamp here. I just love this little floral stamp from the Hugs from Shelley Paper Pumpkin kit. And I thought that it might be kind of fun to put a couple of these flowers just down here. I'm doing this without my pierce mat, so maybe I'll pull this over so that I get a little bit more cushion. But that I thought was so pretty, and I'm going to put one set up here as well. And then while I'm at it, I have my my envelope here, and I'm going to put some flowers right here on the back of the envelope and right here in the corner in the front. Now, I think that would make an absolutely lovely note set for somebody. And so there is the pink one done. Now, what I'm going to do here is see if I can corral this thread. It kind of gets all over the place. And put together this purple one. And so I have my paper here, and we already know that you need just a little bit of glue. So I'm just going to dot some glue this time on the edge of my paper here. Okay, and then I'm going to put my paper down on my card here. And set that into place. And again, even just dotting that, I got some extra glue. So I'm thinking maybe the smart thing to do would be to cut this paper a little bit bigger, maybe the 4 4¼ by 5½, so that it would cover that whole panel, and that way you wouldn't have the glue issue. And so there's my pretty piece of paper. And this one I think I'm going to put together vertically. This one, because of the writing, I felt like I had to do that in a landscape pattern, but there's no reason this one can't be done vertically, although I think it would work just as fine either way. So I have my piece here that I've done, and once again I'm going to just put some dimensionals on the back of this. On this one, I'm going to use the silver thread. So I just have to find the end on, oh, I have a little piece of tape on there. Find the end on this one. And same thing, I'm just going to wind this one around on my fingers here a bunch of times. And because this is kind of close to the bottom, I'm going to make these a little bit smaller because I'm really only pulling this out of the top. Okay, so there we go. Then I'm going to twist this more along the bottom here because I don't want that to stick out too far from the bottom of my card here, and put that into place on one of the dimensionals there. And let's see if I put it on the right side. I magically did. Then you can drag some across to the next dimensional here just to get some of that wire or this thread going across the top there, and some from the bottom there. And I'm going to put that in place right down here on the bottom of my card. And then I have my little flower that actually what I did to test this was I did use my blender pen here and just got a little tiny bit of, just like you would off of the marker, so that I could see that that worked. and it does. So I'm going to put glue on this side, and I'm going to put a dimensional piece on this side here. And like I said, this would work really with any sentiment and any little batch of designers. I got interrupted with something here, and so I had just gotten to the point that I put my little flower on here and realized after I did my stamping of my little flower on the inside that my camera was off. So I apologize for that. But what I really wanted to say is that this card is pretty simple, and any kind of DSP that you have to put on the inside, and I would cut those pieces 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 so you don't have the glue issue. You can just glue it down to the inside of the card. And on this one, like I said, I thought the flowers were a little on the busy side, so I did put a piece of cardstock that was coordinating there. And I think this lovely tin that comes with this makes this just a lovely gift set, or for yourself, just to have a bunch of cards on hand that said just about anything. Dear friend, get well, happy birthday, just a note, any number of things that you could do with this and work some DSP out of your stash. So again, thank you so much for stopping by today. I do so appreciate it. And that's it for me. I'll be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. And the prize draw for this month is putting an order on my website, www.lbedinger.stampinup.net, and you can get to it through my blog, www.ingenuity.com. And the prize draw for the month is one of the big bundles out of the catalog, your choice. So thanks again for stopping by, and I'll be back soon. Bye.